So we will have a short break now. It's been designed by the team which is organizing the retreat. And after we come back from the break, then we will share if there is anything to be shared. Otherwise, we keep going on the road. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, shall we? Does somebody have any important thing to share by way of coming from the meditation? Was there any fruit from the previous meditation?
You asked us to experience or meditate on Maya, but in the last two meditations, I don't know if it's correct or not, I just experienced nothing. I mean, nothing as in nothing, as in nothingness. I mean, as soon as I start meditating, I went away.
You went away.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Is that
Great.
good, bad?
That's good. That's good because you are the trouble. You have to go, and moksha is you have to go. Yeah, the self has to go.
For me, actually, it happened the other way around. I started meditating and then I realized I was thinking of my job and lots of things that I have to do. And then I realized I'm already at 60, so I should go.
I'm very liberal. I've given you a lot of time. But don't make use of the time to go to sleep, please. Be alert.
What about people who don't make it to 60? I mean, did you go through a lifetime without moksha and that's that? Or?
I think the majority of humanity may not be making it even after 60. That's quite obvious. And because even after 60, you're completely entrapped in the world of the senses. And you're not turned inward. The turning must happen. You're looking out into the world. You've got to look back inwardly. And the shift may not happen to many people. And especially in modern times, where religion has lost its hold on people, and people have walked out of religions. So there is no proper guidance. And if your life is pretty sweet, with a lot of comforts and luxuries, then you may not even feel the necessity. You may still continue to keep enjoying life just like a youngster even after 60. So then best of luck next life. So we're now moving into the third part called pratyahara, Sanskrit word meaning withdrawal of the senses from their sense objects. And then so there is a principle in the Gita, the Pratyahara Sutra or the principle. The sutra means, the word sutra, it means thread in Sanskrit, thread. Sutra means thread. But what do they mean by that word sutra, thread? How is thread relevant? Because if you have a thread, then that same thread can go through hundreds of beads. The same thread can go through hundreds of beads. So the thread kind of integrates and holds together the hundreds of beads. So similarly, a natural law, like Newton's law of gravitation or any other law in engineering, Faraday's law or Newton's law, is a principle which kind of integrates and explains hundreds of situations, and each situation is like the bead. So that is why a principle or a theorem is called a sutra in Sanskrit, because it integrates hundreds and thousands of experiences by the same single principle, only one principle. But then it accounts for thousands of experiences, so it's called a sutra. So now this sutra is on pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses from the sense objects. And what does the sutra say? The sutra says that just like a tortoise withdraws its 4 legs and the head and goes into a shell, the 4 legs and the head, the tortoise withdraws in a moment of crisis when there is physical danger that somebody is going to hurt the tortoise. Then the tortoise shrinks its 4 limbs and the head, and then it takes shelter under the shell so that it is safe. So that's what the tortoise does. So similarly, the sutra says that you've got to withdraw the senses from the sense objects. Withdraw the senses from the sense objects. The sense objects are like sockets, power sockets. The sense objects are like power sockets, and the senses are plugged into the sense objects. So they draw the energy and the power. So the senses are fed. Now you've got to pull out the senses from the sense objects. And this is what people in the spiritual life are doing in monasteries, in Christian monasteries, in Buddhist monasteries, and in the monasteries of every religion, in Hindu monasteries. They are shutting their eyes and they are sitting in a room which is very dimly lit, and they are watching every thought, and then the thoughts subside. Then, like for the seeker here, they just go into that nothingness. Ultimately, you've got to go into that nothingness because that's where our real home is. That's where the source is. So you've got to pull the senses from the sense objects, exactly like pulling out a plug from a socket. Got to pull it out so that there is no energy influx. And then, so in the senses, instead of looking at the world, looking at the outside world, the consciousness can either be receptive to the sensory stimuli, or the consciousness can be receptive to Shiva, who is hidden and who is on the other side of consciousness. So we are going to see this in a more detailed way. So yada samharate chayam kurmongani visarvasah indriyani indriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. That's the key word. So anybody who withdraws the senses from the sense objects, exactly like a tortoise withdraws its limbs into the shell, such a person has the intelligence firmly awakened and established. Take note. The intelligence is firmly awakened, and then the intelligence is consolidated and is established, provided the senses are withdrawn from the sense objects. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani sarvasah indriyani indriyartebhyas tasya prajna, his intelligence. Tasya is his, prajna is intelligence, pratishtita is well established. It's been awakened and it's well established. So when the senses are no longer in a romantic dalliance with sense objects, and they are kind of satiated, their appetites are satiated, they have had enough of a fill, so now they turn inward. When they turn inward, then the intelligence is awakened, because Shiva is intelligence. Meditation, contemplation, observation of mauna means silence, fasting, solitude, spiritual retreats, all of these facilitate withdrawal of the senses from their sense objects. And this is so important for the true spiritual life, not for the superficial spiritual life. For the true spiritual life, this is so important.
Excuse me, what is mauna?
Mauna is silence, Sanskrit word for silence. That is, you don't speak. You observe silence. Now, it's the most important thing. Now, our consciousness, which is our feeling nature, which is a whole lot of the web of our thoughts and feelings, very complex thing in movement, like the movement of many wheels actually, that consciousness, it can either be whole, which means every part of consciousness is in harmony with every other part. No part is fighting with another part. There is no good guy in you who is trying to control the bad guy in you. Good guys and bad guys exist, but they can either be in conflict or they can be peacefully coexisting. Now you got to come to a state of peaceful coexistence, the good Shakti and the bad Shakti in you, because there are totally 9 Shaktis in you. The Shaktis are all there. The Devas are one set of Shaktis. The Asuras, they are another set of Shaktis. I said in Christianity, they are called angels and demons. Every angel is a Shakti, is a cosmic life energy. Now, an angel can fight with a demon, or an angel can become so intelligent that it will not fight with a demon, but it will coexist. And when that happens, then consciousness acquires a quality of wholeness, and with a power that goes with that wholeness, which power is never existent in consciousness when it is fragmented. Fragmented means like this, broken into 10 or 15 pieces. You as the wife, you as the husband, you as a professional woman, you as a spiritual seeker, are these personalities, are they warring with each other, or are they completely at peace? Is there good camaraderie between all of them? Are you at peace with each other? Or are you quarreling, controlling, manipulating, fighting, dissipating, in conflict? So that consciousness in us, the manas or the feeling nature, it can either have an integral quality to it. It can be total. And then it can be silent. Or it can be active and it can be fragmented. It can be silent and it can be integrated, it can be whole, or it can be active and it can be fragmented. Now when it is fragmented, it's not connected to God. But when it is integrated and whole and quiet, resting peacefully, then it's connected to God, but consciousness will not know it. Then lovely things will start happening to you in your life, and you will think, I'm so fortunate, etc. Everything is happening because you got connected. But you'll never know that you're connected unless you study the scriptures. You've got to deeply study the scriptures like a doctoral student does his research. Then you will know, yes, I got it. I got connected to God. But if you don't do that research and if you don't make a deep study, then you will not ever know in this lifetime that you got connected. And you'll be talking of all sorts of silly things like synchronicity and whatnot, missing the main point that you got connected. That's the whole essence of it. So consciousness represented by the 10 heads, as Shakti is fragmented, this is represented by the 10 heads of Ravana, who is an evil king from the Hindu scriptures, each head in conflict with the other heads. When Shakti returns to Shiva, consciousness becomes whole and blessed. Becomes whole and blessed and peaceful and very quiet. And not going on the path of excessive achievement. It's not on the run. It's become wise. It's walking very slowly, very intelligently. Not getting credit for every silly and stupid achievement you got on your cards.